you got a small window to push this product on people and get people excited. And the folks that's going to see this is that because you had a little bit of a downfall in Philadelphia. Allen Iverson didn't play that, but that was, I think, more related to something like a health, situation. So, of course, no one's going to fault him for that. But it's just people have their concerns about it. People are like, well, what about these old guys? And when you miss games like this, and especially you the main attraction, let's be real. No, people are there to see Brian Scalabrine, the white mamba, some people, but the majority is here for Allen Iverson. This is what it is. They've been pushing this thing for the past year. And then when you don't show up, regardless, and I'm hoping that it's not anything serious. We're just talking about that he didn't show up. Of course, if it's something serious, that's going to change the story, and the subject. But it's like, dude, you the one told us to watch this, and then you don't show up. That's the thing. That's what I'm thinking about. How am I supposed to, push that off on somebody else and be like, yo, you need to watch this Big Three? But I heard Allen Iverson didn't play. Well, that is true, but Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is playing, and it's just like, nah, you're not gonna sell people on that. Allen Iverson is the one guy that people want to see. So he issued an apology, made a mistake. Obviously, he had a conversation with Q, but you can't have this, happening. So hopefully it's all worked out because you need this to take off from year 1 to year 2, 3, 4, and make this thing better. So some people were talking about some of the injury reports in the chat room. Bussa is already talking about he got 8 teams drafting at the end of the month. That's too many fantasy draft teams, Bussa. You need to take a break. On that. But Booster did say Lopan is a G. Yeah, you right. Lopan is a G. Right, Lopan? Indeed. Yeah. So we'll see, what goes on from this. You can't have your main guys missing games because you don't have that many. And you're going from one city to the other. It's not like you're stationary in one city where you can just market it to the same crowd. So you got to definitely make sure you're at the rest of the games, AI. Also, over the weekend, we had 2 fights. Bronner fought against Garcia, but, it kind of happened. Everybody thought it was going to happen. But this Jones-Cormier fight, I think it still happened like people thought it was going to be. But I saw the fight. I watched the fight. And at no point am I going to say I am a professional analyst or anything like that. But it was obvious that Daniel Cormier he was focused. He was locked in, on this. And John Jones was too. And they were trading, bars back and forth. I think maybe by one round at that point, I think John had it, but it wasn't necessarily, he wasn't dominating them. I think Cormier was doing a very good job of staying out of the way, of shots that John has caught with other people, because here's the thing. John throws elbows, punches, kicks. He throws them from everywhere. So he's so unpredictable, and that was the ultimate downfall to Cormier is that, you saw it when they put it in slow-mo. He really thought John was going with a different move, and he ducked the head like John was saying that he does. And John raised that leg, whipped it around, and swap, and it caught him. And after that, it was like, uh-oh, it's a wrap, you saw it on his face. And I think more than anything, and I feel bad for Cormier, to a certain degree, is because, all the stuff that he had to go through. Some people were saying he's not a real champion, because of the whole situation, how he got the championship belt. He didn't actually get it from John, and those emotions definitely spread all over the TV screen that night. And he was obviously upset. He was obviously disappointed. I think the biggest thing about it is that he probably was prepared for those kicks, and he just made one slip up, and that was his thing. I think he was fighting a good fight. Like I said, he was in it. It wasn't, John wasn't just controlling the fight the entire time. And I think Daniel, was like, yo, I'm getting ready to make my move. I'm getting ready, to start turning the tide and everything. and he slipped up for one split second. And I think that's what he was really upset about. But unfortunately, with the way the internet is, they are destroying this guy. So internet, please give Cormier a break. He fought a good fight. He didn't come out there unprepared or anything. He didn't get dominated, like the Bronner fight, it was. But like he said, it's not a rivalry. His chance of getting at John is over. And even if he did fight him again, it's going to be 3 or 4 fights, 6 fights down the road. Right now, it's the Brock Lesnar, John Jones fight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be really excited or really interested in seeing to see if John can put on 40 pounds and still be the guy that he is. Now, he could be. If you've seen his brothers is big dude. Chandler Jones and Arthur Jones. They both play in the NFL, so they big dudes. But that is the fight that I'm going to be looking forward to. And that would be probably UFC's biggest fight since this last fight with Cormier. Lesnar versus Jones. So we'll see, what happens with that. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, we got a game on our hand. The NFL is finally here. Training camp has started. We got a Hall of Fame game going on. And the only reason that I'm bringing this up is that so everyone can start getting their mind wrapped around watching football. That's it. I'm not saying that you got to watch a Hall of Fame game because Hall of Fame game is normally not that interesting at all. And it's definitely not going to be interesting, in my opinion, because Bruce Arians already said it's the Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals. Bruce Arians already said none of the starters are playing. So it's just like, we're not even going to get one drive of Carson Palmer or anything like that. Nope. And do we normally? Nope, not in a Hall of Fame game, But the good thing about it is that we actually did have a Hall of Fame game. Because if you remember, last year, we didn't have one because it got canceled because someone made a boop, boop, all over the field. And the field was not in playing conditions. So now they got the field in playing conditions. But the good thing about this is this extra game gives some guys that will be bubble guys or some guys that's trying to make, an impact, or guys like Blaine Gabbert that's on this team that's trying to, lock up the backup quarterback position. It gives them one extra game, to show their talent, to showcase their talent and maybe make the team. So to them, I wish them all the success, but I'll probably watch the first quarter, if that, and then that'll be it. I'll get my fix in. I'll sniff some of the air of the grass of the NFL and everything, and then I'll move on to something else. But it is good. Football is back. It is right around the corner, and we will be talking about everything that's going on in the season, who do what, who didn't do it, and all that stuff. But coming up later, I'm going to give you my AFC North review. We've done the AFC West, actually all of the AFC, so West, South, and East. So we're going to finish up the AFC tonight with my predictions on how the AFC North is going to play out this year in 2017. So we'll jump back in the chat for a second. Buster says that he hates Dallas, but he said, I will watch the game. So Buster's a big Redskins fan, so I know that's going to be kind of hard to watch, but that's what I'm talking about, Buster. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Buster, he sniffing the grass and the NFL air. He taking it in, and even though it's his team that he hates, he's just like, I'm still going to watch it, And going back to what we're talking about, the John Bones, Boots even say, everybody forget about the Bones Jones knees, Yeah, he definitely, is deadly. The man could probably take you out with his cuticles, That's how dangerous he is. Shouts out to my man 334 Bama Boy, who, if you see him in the chat room, he's doing a countdown, ladies and gentlemen. So let me say it right. 334 Bama Boy, 31 days left. Yeah, 31 days before we kick this thing off, called the NFL. So, appreciate you for jumping in, sir, and I I appreciate you. Hey, how about we just say that and I move on? Also, Ducking and Dodging is in the building as well. So appreciate you jumping in here too, Ducking and Dodging. And make sure I didn't miss anyone because I don't want to miss anyone. I love sending shouts out to all the people that be jumping in the chat. So look like we got everybody. So we're going to move on. So Hall of Fame game. Probably no. I would think if any Cowboys did play, starter wise, one drive, one series or whatever, and that'll be it. But I really don't expect it. If Bruce Arians sitting everybody out, I think Jason Garrett is going to go ahead and do the same thing and be like, yo, y'all have a seat, and see what the rest of these guys, got. But football, it feels good. It feels good that football is right around here because although, I'm not saying I'm glad that the NBA is gone or whatever, but it's just like, it's so much Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and a couple other things that you can talk about. So it's good to have some other stuff to talk about. Nothing wrong with the other stuff, but it's good to have some other stuff to talk about. And other stuff to talk about is we are going to touch the NBA a little bit, but not necessarily with an NBA player. We're going to talk about ownership. So everyone knows that the Houston Rockets is basically for sale. They're on the market. It's going to be some ridiculous amount that someone pays or whatever. So everyone is getting together. You've heard, Keem Olajuwon is trying to get in on it. Dikembe Mutombo, I think Yao Ming, was like, nah, I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to fall back or whatever. But one interesting person I saw that is included or they're talking about maybe included in trying to be a partial owner, not majority owner, but a partial owner, minority owner, is one Beyonce. Yes. If you don't know, Beyonce is originally from Houston, so she is a Houston native, so that makes sense as far as like what she's trying to do with it. I know this would be a great thing if we got Beyonce in the NBA. Jay-Z has already been in the NBA. He had the whole thing with the Brooklyn Nets, and all that stuff or whatever. But I think with Beyonce, she brings a whole different world that she could bring to the NBA. All her fellow B followers, and all that stuff, she can incorporate stuff into that. They could do maybe like fashion. I mean, they could sell Houston Rocket gear just because Beyonce is partial owner, on this thing. The attendance probably would be off the chain too, because if she's an owner, she's probably going to be there more often, than not, So if she's there, more ticket sales. It's more spectacle. It's more media attention or anything, So we're not just talking about the Golden State Warriors. She has a blueprint, no pun intended. Her husband, again, like I said, was involved with the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm sure, he would lend some type of advice, but she don't need all the advice. She's a good business person. But I think this thing would be awesome if she got in. And then just think about it. After the show, after the game, you get a Jay-Z Beyonce concert or something like that. How awesome would that be? You watch CP3, James Harden, possibly Carmelo Anthony, and then after that, you go ahead and see Jay-Z and Beyonce perform. That would be awesome, If Beyonce is in the NBA, so will Jay-Z. So that's what Busa is saying, on here. So, yeah, you're right about that. But here's the thing. I don't know how that'll work. They were just saying because the reason Jay-Z had to give up his share of the Brooklyn Nets is because he wanted to start Rock Nation and, basically represent athletes. So you can't represent athletes and have and be an owner, so he sold his shares. Now, because that he's her husband, I don't know if they're going to count that as kind of like all in the family too. So we don't know how that's going to work. So that's something to think about, on it. But Beyonce with a team sounds good to me, So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back, and I want to talk about this NCAA. The NCAA is in the news again, and they are just, I mean, come on, man. That's all I'm thinking about. But we'll come back, and I'll tell you what's